Namaste, angels. This will be, I already saw an orb fly by. This will be our weekly general reading for the month, for the week rather, of October 29th through Saturday, November 4th. And this week, I'm not going to have any what's going on in the sky, and that they didn't put it up. So I decided maybe we weren't meant to have it because I have other stuff to talk about. I mean, not that I don't always, but increase, because we have a full moon that falls within this week, and we have 3 days over which I'd like to go briefly. That's All Hallows Eve, otherwise known as Halloween, but it has a basis. So we'll go over that. All Saints Day and All Souls Day, and the difference between the two of those. Yeah, and then we'll get into the full moon, because it's like almost a super moon, but not quite. And I'll read why. And nothing going on in the Jewish calendar. So we should be quickly getting up to the cards. First, I want to ask you guys, those of you who are so inclined, please do like, share, and subscribe. Some of you know that I've been having to basically work for YouTube over the past couple months. And it just seems to be getting progressively worse, unfortunately, that a lot of you are not receiving your notifications. So also do me a favor and check and make sure everything's checked off, although I really don't believe it matters. I believe that you guys do have everything checked off, and it's still not working. But humor me so we can together humor them, because they say to do this. And also, if you like, share, and subscribe, at least that will help for the videos to show up in the feeds, and then people who haven't been notified should see them that way. All right, let's do this. So what's going on this week in general for astrology? I'll do that. I think only the full moon in Taurus is this week major. So I'll go straight to All Hallows Eve. That should be the first thing that comes up. And again, that's otherwise known as Halloween. Halloween, also known as Halloween, it's one not really pronounced that way. Halloween. Halloween. I was trying to say it so that you guys would hear all the words that are conjoined there. All Hallows Eve and All Saints Eve is a celebration observed in a number of countries on October 31st. It's the eve of the Western Christian feast day of All Hallows Day. It begins a 3-day observance of All Hallow Tide, the time in the liturgical year dedicated to remembering the dead, including saints or hallows, martyrs, and all of the faithful. It's widely believed that many Halloween traditions originated from an ancient Celtic harvest festival, particularly the Gaelic festival Samhain, Samhain, that such festivals have had pagan roots, and that Samhain itself was Christianized as Halloween by the early church. Some believe, however, that Halloween began solely as a Christian holiday, separate from the ancient festivals like Samhain. Halloween activities include trick-or-treating, you guys know that, attending parties, and blah, blah, blah. Some Christians historically abstain from meat on All Hallows Eve, a tradition reflected in the eating of certain vegetarian foods on this day as part of a vigil, including apples, potato pancakes, and what is called soul cakes. So the apples, that's believed in part, doesn't say it here, but that's believed in part to be from where like bobbing for apples on Halloween and stuff comes from. I think they stopped that when I was a little girl, because like sickos had began to do things to the apples. In any case, a soul cake is a small round cake which is traditionally made for All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, and All Souls Day to commemorate the dead in Christian tradition. The cakes, often simply referred to as souls, are given out to soulers, and in parentheses they have mainly consisting of children and the poor. Okay, that's what they call soulers, or what they called at one point. And they go from door to door during the days of All Hallowtide, singing and saying prayers for the souls of the givers and their friends. The practice in England dates to the medieval period and was continued there until around the 1930s by both Protestant and Catholic Christians. The practice of giving and eating soul cakes continues in some countries today, such as Portugal, where it's known as Pão por Deus, P-A-O hyphen P-O-R hyphen D-E-U-S, Pão por Deus. And in other countries, it's seen as the origin of the practice of trick-or-treating. In Lancashire and in northeast England, they are also known as harcakes, H-A-R-C-A-K-E-S. In the United States, some churches during All Hallowtide have invited people to come to receive sweets from them and have offered to pray for the souls of their friends, relatives, or even pets as they do so. So that's from where the trick-or-treating and all that stuff comes from. It has a real basis. I had a conversation with somebody recently about like what costumes are appropriate and what costumes are not. And like things like witches and stuff, and ghosts and goblins, that's why or how they came to be appropriate, because this is a festival associated with the dead and with the trick-or-treat aspect. So it's not when you decide to appropriate somebody's culture, like by dressing up as a quote-unquote Indian, or more appropriately called Native American or a Lakota person, indigenous being. That's not when you dress up as pretend to be somebody's culture. All Saints Day is the following day, November 1st. So that's why Halloween is considered All Hallows Eve. It's the eve, like Christmas Eve, the eve before the actual feast day of All Hallows, which is also known as All Saints Day. For this, I'll go to www.catholic.org. All Saints Day is a solemn holy day of the Catholic Church celebrated annually on November 1st. The day is dedicated to the saints of the church, that is, all those who have attained heaven. It should not be confused with All Souls Day, which is observed on November 2nd and is dedicated to those who have died and not yet reached heaven. So in the Catholic religion, at least, it's believed that those are the souls that are in purgatory, or other religious practices tend to call that area, quote unquote, limbo. Although millions or even billions of people may already be saints, All Saints Day observances tends to focus on known saints, that is, those recognized in the canon of the saints by the Catholic Church. All Saints Day is also commemorated by members of the Eastern Orthodox Church, as well as some Protestant churches, such as Anglican, Lutheran, and they have Anglican named again. Generally, All Saints Day is a Catholic holy day of obligation. You have to go to church if you are a practicing Catholic on All Saints Day, meaning all Catholics are required to attend Mass on that day unless they have an excellent excuse, such as a serious illness. Other countries have different rules according to their national bishop conferences. The bishops of each conference have the authority to amend the rules surrounding the obligation of the day. All Saints Day was formally started by Pope Boniface the Fourth, who consecrated the Pantheon at Rome to the Virgin Mary and all the martyrs on May 13th in the year 609 AD. Boniface IV also established All Souls Day, which follows All Saints Day. November 2nd is also Black Solidarity Day, by the way. And you know what? I'll read something about that too. The choice of the day may have been intended to co-opt the pagan holiday, the Feast of Lemurs. So this could be interesting, and maybe is something in follow-up that the spirits are sending us to our conversation last week with regard to Lemuria. The Feast of Lemurs is a day which pagans use to placate the restlessness of spirits of the dead. The holy day was eventually established on November 1st by Pope Gregory III in the mid-8th century as a day dedicated to the saints and their relics. The May 13th celebration was subsequently abandoned. In Ireland, the church celebrated All Saints' Day on April 20th to avoid associating the day with the traditional harvest festivals and the pagan feasts associated with Samhain. celebrated at the same time. Following the establishment of the Frankish Empire and following the reign of Charlemagne, the holy day, which was already celebrated on November 1st, became a holy day of obligation by decree of Pope Gregory IV and Louis the Pious, who was king over a portion of Charlemagne's former empire. Following the Protestant Reformation, many Protestants retained the holy day, although they dismissed the need to pray for the dead. Instead, the day had been used to commemorate those who had recently died, usually in the past year, and to remember the examples of those who lived holy lives. The Catholic practice, however, celebrates all those who have entered heaven, including saints who are recognized by the Church and those who are not. Holy day customs vary around the world. In the United States, the day before is Halloween and is usually celebrated by dressing in costumes with themes of death commonly associated. Children go door to door in costume, trick-or-treating. That is soliciting candy from their neighbors. The holiday has lost much of its connection to its religious origins. Although nearly everyone celebrates Halloween for fun, the secular holiday, the following religious day, is not widely practiced or acknowledged by most Americans unless they are Catholic. In other countries, such as Portugal, Spain, and Mexico, traditional practices include performance of a play, Don Juan Tenorio, Tenorio, and offerings made to the dead. All Saints' Day occurs on the same day as the Mexican Dia de los Inocentes, a day dedicated to deceased children. Across much of Europe, the day is commemorated with offerings of flowers left at the graves of the dead. In Eastern Europe, candles are lit on graves instead of offerings of flowers. In some places, such as the Philippines, graves can be painted and repaired by family members. Many of these practices blur the distinction between All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. So like gets lost with what they're celebrating exactly. These celebrations often blur a distinction between All Saints' Day, which is properly dedicated to those who are in heaven, and All Souls' Day, on which prayers are offered for all those who have died but have not yet reached heaven. In Mexico, the Day of the Dead holy days extend from October 31st through November 2nd. It is important to remember these basic facts. Halloween is a secular holiday that comes from the night before All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day is on November 1st, and it is a holy day of obligation. All Souls' Day is on November 2nd, and it is not a holy day of obligation. The Day of the Dead is a Mexican holiday that has spread in popularity into parts of the United States and across Latin America. It is celebrated from October 31st through November 2nd to coincide with both the American tradition and the Catholic holy days. Those 3 days are dedicated to all of the dead and to all of the undead. More about All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day in the Roman Catholic Church, officially the Solemnity of All Saints, and also called All Hallows or Hallowmas, often shortened to All Saints, is a celebration on November 1st by parts of Western Christianity and on the first Sunday after Pentecost in Eastern Christianity in honor of all saints known and unknown. In Western Christian theology, the day commemorates all those who have attained the vision in heaven. It is a national holiday in many historical Catholic countries. In the Roman Catholic Church, the next day, All Souls' Day, specifically commemorates the departed faithful who have not yet been purified and reached heaven. Catholics celebrate All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day in the fundamental belief that there is a prayerful spiritual communion between those in the state of grace who have died and are either being purified in purgatory or are in heaven, and the church penitent and the church triumphant, respectively. So like the different levels of heaven. If you ever read or heard of like the book of Enoch speaks of it. Also the book of Daniel, he speaks of like the 7 levels of heaven. Anyway, the church militants who are living are also associated with this. Other Christian traditions define, remember, and respond to the saints in different ways. And they go on to tell customs of the East and the West. I think we get it. So I'm going to go on to, I don't know if I need to talk about All Souls Day at all, but I'll go on to what I had here and we'll see. All Souls Day is a holy day set aside for honoring the dead. The day is primarily celebrated in the Catholic Church, but it is also celebrated in the Eastern Orthodox Church and a few other denominations of Christianity. The Anglican Church is the largest Protestant church to celebrate the holy day. Most Protestant denominations do not recognize the holiday and disagree with the theology behind it. I guess that people are even in limbo. According to Catholic belief, the soul of a person who dies can go to one of three places. The first is heaven, where a person who dies in a state of perfect grace and communion with God goes. The second is hell, where those who die in a state of mortal sin are naturally condemned by their choice. And the intermediate option is purgatory, which is thought to be where most people free of mortal sin, but still in a state of lesser or quote unquote venial sin must go. Purgatory is necessary so that souls can be cleansed and perfected before they enter heaven. There is a scriptural basis for this belief. The primary reference is in the book of Maccabees 2:1226 and also in 12:32. Quote, turning to supplication, they prayed that the sinful deed might be fully blotted out, thus made atonement for the dead, that they might be free from sin, end quote. Additional references are found in Zechariah, Sirach, and the Gospel of Matthew. Jewish tradition also reinforces this belief as well as the tradition and teaching of the church, which has been affirmed throughout history. Consistent with these teachings and traditions, Catholics believe that through the prayers of the faithful on earth, the dead are cleansed of their sins so that they may enter heaven. The belief in purgatory has not been without controversy. Certainly some flagrant abuses of the doctrine were used to raise money for the church during the Renaissance. Famously, Martin Luther argued with the monk John Tetzel over the sale of indulgences. Indulgences were sold as spiritual pardons to the poor and applied to the souls of the dead or the living. So that sounds like if you're rich, you can buy your way into heaven or some bullshit like that. The abuse of indulgences and the blatant, sometimes fraudulent practice of selling indulgences for money led to Luther's protest. When Martin Luther translated the Bible into German, he omitted the 7 books of the canon, which referred to prayers for the dead. He then introduced the heretical belief that people are simply saved or not, and argued that there is no need to pray for the dead to get them into heaven. The church... I just scrolled past the whole thing. Maybe that's all we're meant to look at. I think we can stop there. All right, so I'm going to go to, because I have so much. I mean, I could have found the place, but we got a lot to do. Full moon, November 2017, from the Farmer's Almanac, real quick. The dates and times for the full moon. It is on November 4th. At 1:23 a.m. Then they have a question. Is November's moon a supermoon? In 2017, the full moon is fairly close to the moon's perigee, which is the moon's closest point to Earth in its monthly orbit. In the media, some folks are calling a moon that's close to perigee a supermoon. This is not an astronomical term, but it is certainly catchy. In the case of November 2017, the full moon is within 1 day and 19 hours of perigee. Is that close enough? Richard Knoll, who defined the supermoon term, says it's a new or full moon that occurs when the moon is at or near, as in within 90% of, its closest approach to Earth in its orbit. It's not clear why he chose 90%, but his way of calculating would suggest that the moon is not within 90% of its closest approach. November full moon. It's a beaver moon. And it's been called this by both the colonists and the Algonquin tribes because this was the time to set beaver traps before the swamps froze to ensure a supply of warm winter furs. The November full moon was also called the full frost moon by other Native American peoples. And we can read more about the full moon when we do the full moon reading. On the Jewish calendar, there is absolutely nothing, no holidays or anything until November 19th. You should have guessed that, is when the month of Kislev begins. On the Christian calendar, as already stated, nothing going on that we need to go over for the rest of October. And then the 1st is All Saints Day, the 2nd is All Souls Day, and that's it for the week there. And I said that was all for astrology, and I'm not doing astronomy, so here we go. I just had to like check off the boxes to make sure I was done. So I'm beginning with the dice with party, sex, and yes. Spirit says buy shoes. I just did. No. No. And stay in bed. This week, I'm beginning with the 3 of air. Great sadness. Take time to heal. There's a need to forgive yourself and others. After I did last week's readings, I posted on my Facebook that there would be, based on those readings, it was pretty evident to me that there would be a number of quote unquote breakups, even among the divine union community, not just, with quote unquote karmic relations. And that has, right away, I started to get confirmation. Literally right away on the video. Yes, I broke up. This is what happened, just like you said in the reading. And so some other people that I learned were going through similar, I actually directed them to the readings, and thankfully they were able to find, solace and comfort in them, and, understanding and clarity and all of that. And we've got a bunch of divine light cleanses this week, in some cases connected to breakups, and that kind of healing. I described it as breakups, at least again in the divine union community, breakups that would be temporary, particularly if the divine feminine is not reactionary. And that did, again, align with the reading. Speaking of divine light cleanse, I got to tell you this. Oh, my goodness. So you know how we often have, everybody who's had it, thankfully, it's such a blessing from God, has, been satisfied. And so I have a page on Facebook that I do not invite people to, because I want them to have a genuine interest in divine light cleanse or support for it, and they can like it themselves. But on that page, it's like a page full of testimonials, either that people posted themselves or that they sent to me. And then I would then screenshot or something and post from there. And a number of times, because we have those people who are so strong in their positive beliefs about the service, they have paid it forward, at least in part, toward strangers also being able to receive it. Because they, like me, feel that everybody should get it. But from me, you could easily say, oh, well, you're trying to make money, you're selling it or whatever. And that's why I really go out of my way to not sell it, although I really do wish everybody would get it. But that's why I'm careful not to push it, even though like my heart aches for other hearts and souls that I know I could help with it, that don't, elect of their own accord to get it. But this week we had a divine light cleanse client twice over, who also purchased for her divine masculine, first time without his knowledge, and the second time with his full permission after he saw the results of the first. So 4 times she's purchased. That's how much she believes in it. to go even further to show how much she believes in it, she completely paid it forward. $111 from a stranger toward another stranger's healing. For somebody to go in their pocket and extend $111 essentially to a stranger, obviously they have to have their full belief in, you know, the service and the practice. And everybody that's gotten it thereafter, you know, with or without a grant, has already gotten back to me that, you know, right away they felt so much better. So some of you will have to experience this healing, but there is help. I guess, long story short, there is help if you need it, if you feel you're in that place. Opening to the Seven of Water. A complex decision. The need to do research. Stop procrastinating. Three of Air. That Three of Air opposite the Seven of Cups or water just came to me that could be some people deciding what to do about a pregnancy. Now, obviously, that's not going to be everybody or necessarily even most. But I'm feeling that that's what some people are going to do about a pregnancy. And then what others are going to do about relationships and friendships or things of that nature. What kind of decision? It can bring pain, whether it's something they know they have to do or not. It can be pain, and it's okay to mourn the loss of, you know, friendships and relationships and things, to take a moment to do that, even though you know it's no longer appropriate for you in your life anymore. So now I'm opening to the Two of Air, which is another indicator of a need to make a decision, or the fact that maybe one of us is waiting on a decision. We can be on the making or the receiving end of this decision. Being unable or unwilling to make a decision, however. So right now, nothing's happening. We've reached a stalemate, and maybe we're even pretending there's no problem. This can be an instance where it's time for the quote unquote, the world, Major Arcana card, the world to step in, the universe to step in and handle this for us, like push us into a decision, or maybe even the Tower to make us do something. Three of Air. And opening to Ego, which is the devil in the traditional tarot. A false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things and negative or fear-based thoughts. So some people can feel stuck in an abusive situation, a painful situation, a hurtful situation, a toxic situation, and not know how to get out of it, or, you know, they're struggling with the decision to leave or to go somewhere else. All of those things can be attached to these two. I'll go one more. And now Ego or the devil on the top. I'm going to cut. I pulled out my Archangel Raphael cards too, because I was beginning with the Three of Air. I'm like, I can't get rid of this Three of Air. Oh no. So we need healing, obviously, and advice on how to heal, what steps to take. So I pulled out his cards. Also the what to surrender cards too. And about abundance, advice about abundance as well. So this is a much happier note. Coming to the Nine of Water. Your wish comes true, concerns fade away, and you have a love of life. So whatever decision we were struggling with, again, maybe the world, right? So the universe steps in to aid us in, or push us, nudge us in making that decision. And then we make it and we're happy that we did. This week's overall energy is also on a much happier note. It is the Queen of Earth, who is thoughtful, creative, warm, and sensible. Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach. Deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. Oh, I've had somebody, a couple of you asked me about my jewelry. Some of my jewelry is as popular as my nails. I thank you. All is well. I had to have an X-ray last week, end of last week, and a chest X-ray. Many of you know, if you've heard me say, I'm a 9/11 survivor, so I have to go annually to like a World Trade Center environmental health center in order to be monitored, right? So I have to have a chest x-ray every year. And I had gone to do that and I had to take off all my jewelry. Can you imagine? I had to ask my daughter for help because also my nails. So I couldn't even like open my necklaces or my bracelets or anything. And I just never put them back on, but they are fine, I promise you. And on this hand, I'm just wearing the one ring, you know, which that's typical. I never had these. And I took off my other bracelets because I wanted to wear this one alone. This is a scarab bracelet. So it's like tiger eye, a lot of agate, different colors of agate. Here's some onyx, carnelian, and each is engraved with a scarab. Okay, so masculine, queen of air, independent, experienced, realistic and witty, objective decision making. So we started out with the 2 of air and the 3 of air and the need to make a decision. No one really better to do that and to cut people off or things off, places off, you know, move on to something else if need be, than the queen of air. She is good at clearing away all that no longer serves her. And you will be too, using this energy. Also seeing the humor in the situation. Because I don't know if you ever noticed, like air signs, and I think it might be Gemini in particular, like more so than the other 2. We sort of move on. Like we're not able to stay in any one energy too long. So if we're angry, we're not going to hold on to that. You might think we're still mad at you. We moved on. And we're either, you know, fine with fixing the relationship, mending the relationship, or never speaking to you again. Like we really moved on. We're not like other people where we like hold on to these things. So that's why. Surrounding the masculine is the 10 of air. The end of a difficult situation. Embrace the change and expect things to get better now. Somebody, there goes Raphael with the healing too. Somebody may even be recovering from an addiction. And an addiction can very well be substance abuse, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, there can be any kind of codependency. So again, just like she can cut away any person, place, or thing, that can be the addiction. Any person, place, or thing upon which one is codependent. It's the end of that. And we have to have a mindset of going forward, things are going to be better. Like I can't expect the same misery and toxicity and difficulty to continue when the universe has told me, my guides have told me that whatever, my gut has told me that this is the end of this situation and things are changing for me now. We got to believe that, right? Believe it and receive it. And then that's how you move forward. The masculine subconscious, the knight of earth, who is loyal, dedicated, honorable, and kind. It's time to buckle down and get things done. Honor your commitments. You have a guardian angel. Well, I said the moon was in Taurus, right? That might be the full moon in Taurus. That might be why the overall energy is the queen of earth and the masculine subconscious is the knight of earth. This can be a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo actually in your life, or, you know, that's going to be particularly impactful upon you and your thinking, perhaps this week, masculine. And this can be your energy, whether you are one of those zodiac signs or not. You can be taking on, you know, those attributes or traits this week in order to, the same way you can take on those of the queen of air to handle your business. Feminine, same thing. The ace of air here, brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth in a situation and a challenging beginning. So it's a challenging beginning because it's one that took some effort, right? Here's the 10. The masculine has the 10. That's ending. After the 10 is the 11, right? Aces in cards, they're always an 11 or a 1. Right? You're a blackjack player, it's an 11 or it's a 1. So it's same here. It comes after this 10. So it was hard getting here. It's been a hard road, as they say. But now we're here. So it's up to you if you want to look at that as a challenging beginning or how I choose to look at it as a beginning nonetheless. This is also a card of victory. And it's an indication of truth coming from you or toward you or both. And like just cutting through all the bullshit and getting to the point. Surrounding is the magician, which represents the sign of Gemini for me. Because the magician has all the elements, and as does Gemini, like other mutable signs, but times 2. You are ready. You have the resources or the ability to manifest them, and life is magical. Sometimes the magician can come up when somebody is I don't really want to say bipolar. I guess that could be too. That could be it. That's not the word I was looking for. But when somebody is unwell, I'm going to say it that way, emotionally, mentally unwell in the moment, the magician can show up too. And I think that that may be the case for some. It's here mirroring this 10 of air, where again, some of us may be recovering from an addiction. In the feminine subconscious, the 2 of air, being unable or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there's no problem. This can be about any number of things, maybe about truth that she's heard or told. Do I tell? You know, do I really take on the energy of the ace of air and open my mouth? You know, especially if you're not an air sign, maybe that doesn't come all that naturally to you. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, all that kind of stuff. Or what move do I make now that I know this truth? Where do I go from here? All of those things can be the decision, but just know that whatever it is, and whatever decision you make, you can accomplish what it is you set your mind to, because you have this energy of the magician, which again is all of the elements at your disposal: fire, air, earth, water. So use your intuition, follow your passion, use your emotion, but also use some logic, right, in going forward. Crowning, the Knight of Fire. Passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless is the Knight of Fire. This is another court card, so it's another potential actual person in your life or energy of your own. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. So the Knight of Fire is a Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. I don't know why. I was in my head and like on the tip of my tongue, but it wouldn't come out. And I don't know why. I myself am a Leo rising. So I wasn't like forgetting you guys. It just wouldn't come out. At the root, Justice. So this represents Venus. This can be the Queen of Air while she's here. Although the Queen of Air is also the Queen of Earth. If when it comes to Venus, she's both the ruler of Libra, represented by Justice, Taurus, which again, full moon in Taurus, and Gemini, Magician. So all of those could be happening. Fair and just decisions. Do what you know is right. Stand up for your beliefs. At the heart of the matter, the 7 of Earth. Seeds well planted. Temporary pause in action. So we could be just waiting, some of us, to figure out what to do. Waiting for this information, maybe. Waiting on a decision. Maybe we're not the ones making the decision, feminine. Maybe we're here with this in our subconscious because we're waiting on a decision. Maybe it's a legal decision. We're waiting for a judge to hand something down. Our divorce is final. Our child support issue, family court issue, or some sort of like a state issue or something. You're being left some sort of settlement or something like that. That could be what the Knight of Earth is. It's money coming your way, but it's slowly. So because the Knight of Earth is like methodical and paced. He's not a runner like the Knight of Fire. So that could be a decision on which you're waiting, but you've already done what needs to be done in order for it to come through. So now you just wait without worry, like confident that things are about to get better. I want to further clarify these with the other tarot cards like we did last week. Because last week we had a bunch of them to repeat. So we really were able to emphasize what, the messages and the meanings of the cards. And since it's a general reading for a large collective, a large group, the different things they could mean for different people and their individual circumstances. So I'm beginning with that deck with the 8 of Spring, which is the 8 of Wands. And bees are connected to Seraphim. You've been presented with many wonderful opportunities all at once. While this may be very stressful, remember to be grateful for the blessings that heaven sends you. This can also be about communication. It's a card of movement, too. All Wands cards are cards of movement, whether physical or metaphorical. So now coming to another one, the 10 of Spring, similar to the 10 of Air. You're working far too hard, and the stress will soon become too much. Reach out for help from others and take some time to play and to enjoy life. Eight of Spring. And it's another one. The 3 of spring. Stop to take time to review and to make long-term plans, capitalizing upon your past successes. It's appropriate to pat yourself on the back for all your accomplishments, but you may also need patience for the next phase to play out. This is also a card of abundance. So there could be a movement, for example, in abundance, movement in your finances, maybe movement in your love life in a positive way, whatever abundance means to you. And again, the queen of abundance, Venus, is, she governs both of those areas. She's the ruler of both love and money, the goddess of both love and money. Eight of spring and 3 of winter. So this is our second 3 of air. I began with the 3 of air with this deck, and it's back. Rose-breasted grosbeak. Interesting. Sadness is a part of life, but you don't have to endure it alone. You may need a little time to heal, but once you work through your emotions, you'll be stronger than ever before. So, and there can be movement in that area as well. Where one is hurting, all of a sudden there can be something that motivates them to, if they've felt themselves falling into a slump, something that motivates them to get, to get busy themselves like a bee. Eight of spring. I'm going to cut. Three of autumn. Your most satisfying and profitable career comes from following your passions, listening to your heart, and doing what brings you joy. So I would apply, not just career, but relationship, whatever fits in that box for you. Your life purpose is best fulfilled by allowing your talents and true self to shine forth out into the world. So that's true in either case, whether we're talking about your career or we're talking about a relationship or we're talking about both. Your talents, your truth, your heart's desires, put that first. And then you're being rewarded for that, for your effort toward those things. So I was shuffling in my hand. I'm not done yet. And the dreamer I have here up top. You are starting a new adventure. Run free and take a leap of faith. So the dreamer is the fool in the traditional tarot, and it's about a brand new path on which we've never walked. And we're just going to, we don't know how this path is, but we're going to just trust that we've already received messages that it's, the best path for us. And we're just going to take a leap and start to walk it. So opposite that, I have the 9 of summer. Now's the time when your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have and all that's still yet to come. So this is like reinforcing what I just said here. Don't worry that it might not make sense, like things have been bad for so long. How are they going to get better? Just trust that they will, and they will. Now, the reason I ended up with these two opposite one another in my hand was because this jumped out. These two jumped out together and landed, face up like this. The Ace of Summer. So it's another fresh start, another 1 or 11. This is the beginning of a new emotional experience for you. It may be the first blush of a romantic love, the rebirth of a current relationship, or the awakening of spiritual gifts and insights. Or it could be all of those, right? It could be increased intuition and increased gifts because you're going through, an ascension. And it can be new love can walk into your life, or an old love can return to your life, especially when the difficulties are ending, as again shown by the 10 of spring, which was here a moment ago, and the 10 of air that's on the table. All right, so I'm going to finish shuffling these. I just stuck the ace and 10 in there arbitrarily, and I'm here now. I promise you, I shuffled so much, but the overall energy is the 9 of summer. So now's the time when your dreams come true. Don't worry about how this will happen. Just give gratitude to God for all that you have and all that is still to come. So all that you have, all that you will have, all that you have that you can't see because you haven't manifested it in a tangible sense yet. But like if you believe you have it. You ever, for those of you who watch like Real Housewives of Atlanta, Nene Leakes, when she was on it the first time, because I understand she's back, she used to go on about how she was rich. I'm very rich, bitch. I'm very rich. And at the time, she hadn't really got any of these, you know, the jobs that she went on to get, you know, that she went on to land, a TV show, a play, and all these kind of, she hadn't done any of that yet, but she had already claimed the fact that she was rich. That's kind of like what this is. And I've always said the illumined and the elect are the richest people on the planet, you know. Those who will inherit the earth and the kingdom. So atop the Queen of Winter is the Queen of Winter. Okay? They do have different messages at the bottom. So this one again says objective decision making, clearing away all that no longer serves you and seeing the humor in the situation. And this one says all your life's experiences have prepared you for this moment of truth. It's time to declutter your home, to clear away situations that aren't working for you anymore, and to disengage from people who create more drama than happiness. So again, getting back to when I was first shuffling and I said some of us may have like a relationship or something to leave and we're still hanging around. It hurts to go, but it hurts to stay. The Queen of Winter shows up twice over now, on one atop the other, to say, you got to get out, masculine, from whatever that is. A place, a person, a thing, a combination, you got to atop the, and it could just be energy too, right? This energy of negativity, if things never go right for me, oh, woe is me. And maybe that because it's been true. It's been a difficult road, but you have to let, again, that energy go so that fresh energy can come and your blessings, you know, can be manifested in a tangible sense for you. Here atop the 10 of air is the 10 of summer instead. So we're replacing like betrayal and pain and addiction, codependency. We're replacing that with love. It's time to express your love and appreciation for family, be it relatives or a chosen family. This can be your soul family. This can be your man, your woman, you know, their kids, your kids, blended families, grandchildren, stepkids, you know, all of those things. That's family. Close friends, right? So be it relatives or a chosen family of close friends. Yes. Congratulations may be in order on a happy, fulfilling marriage. So maybe something ended to give way for something new that was better. Maybe a couple, this is crossing, right? It's crossing that Libra, that justice. Maybe a couple divorced because they knew they should. Or a couple broke up because they knew they should. That allowed for a new family to be formed. Now that I'm no longer married to him, I can marry you. Now that I'm no longer married to her, I can marry you. And we can be happy and they can be happy with whomever they belong and create a family with them. All right. So congratulations may be in order on a happy, fulfilling marriage, as well as raising happy, balanced children. That can be the case too. Here atop the Knight of Earth is the 3 of Summer. So for some, celebration and congratulations is definitely in order, but maybe it took a long time. You know, maybe like we were getting impatient. We didn't believe it was going to happen because Knight of Earth. Or maybe somebody got married to an earth sign or, you know, something like that. You have an exciting reason to celebrate, such as an engagement, a wedding, a graduation, or a birth announcement. Remember to cherish those you love. And I think even possibly the outcome of some kind of family court issue or even a divorce may be reason for some to celebrate. Your situation may have been that toxic. But this justice can be standing for marriage as well. Like maybe we're going to the judge to get married. There's a song like that, an old song, going to the chapel and we're going to get married. So something like that could be happening. Here atop the ace of it. What? How good is my God and how good are my angels? How blessed am I sitting here right now talking to you guys and working with you? How blessed are we all? So just like atop the Queen of Winter was the Queen of Winter, atop the Ace of Winter is the Ace of Winter. Implementation of your brilliant new idea may get off to a rocky start, but keep going. The challenges will help to refine your plan and to reshape your goals into something even better. So this sounds more like my perception, my attitude. It's a new beginning nonetheless, but I'll read through this one again too. Brilliant new ideas and inspirations. Also seeing the truth of a situation and a challenging beginning. So neither of these mention that the Ace of Air is about victory. It absolutely is. Truth coming to you, truth going out. I love this though, how both archetypes here are getting a very definitive message of where we are. Atop the Magician, the Ace of Autumn. So another new start, another 11 or 1. You can expect a windfall of abundance, such as money, timely assistance, a serendipitous meeting, or rewarding advice. You may be offered a fabulous new job or a promotion, or the prospect of a profitable business venture or investment. So if you were deciding on any of those things, again, you're the magician, you can do it and it's coming to you. And I said something like this before, that abundance, whatever that means for you, if it's love, if it's money, if it's both, that's what's coming to us. Crowning atop the Knight of Fire is the Queen of Autumn. So here's 2 Queens of Autumn. Our other one is our overall energy. This one's crowning us. You'll be given advice that's both practical and creative, and it should be followed precisely. Focus only upon the positive in every situation or person. So I love how it's sitting here next to the Ace of Winter, where I suggested we do just that. Focus only on the positive. It's a beginning. Drop the part about it being difficult or having been difficult to get there. Don't focus on that. Oh, I love this. Atop Justice is Strength. And I love it because these cards for me, Justice and Strength, represent Saint Germain and his divine feminine. So here atop Strength, we have the strength to get through whatever this situation is. I kept feeling some sort of family matter. So, to the, again, more positive, it can be a marriage, but I felt more like a family court issue or divorce, or some sort of legal estate, something, maybe somebody passed away, unfortunately, whatever the situation is, the strength to get through it, right? True strength is displayed through kindness, forgiveness, and compassion. You have tremendous personal power and courage. So strength represents the sign of Leo, the sign that's crowning us underneath this Queen of Autumn that I couldn't get out of my mouth earlier. So Leo may be particularly impactful upon you this week too. At the heart of the matter, atop the 7 of Earth, is balance, which represents the sign of Sagittarius, or the fire sign, sitting here under the Knight of Fire. By merging varying points of view, you can generate an extraordinary new idea, compromise with others, and collaborate to discover a better solution. So this can be where it comes to relationships, where it comes to business matters, partnerships, new job, like weighing your options and from a positive point of view. And that way you might be victorious and have something to celebrate as a result of, coming into a reasonable, fair place. Balance, the scales of balance also, again, represent justice. And this hits this balance card, or temperance in the traditional tarot, sitting here atop justice. So this can be about, again, a court matter or a legal situation, something that has to be finalized, that enables you or helps you, allows you to move forward. And that may explain why we have all those cards of movement, the fire cards, underneath this layer. And I forgot to pick up the card atop the 2 of Air in the feminine subconscious. It's the 9 of Spring. So it makes sense that this is sitting here next to strength. The Nine of Spring, it's a card of movement too. All the Wands cards are. And this one guides us to continue to move forward, to persevere. You've worked hard at what you've created. What you've created is impressive and worthy of protecting. Annoying challenges may pop up, but don't worry. You'll get through them just as you have in the past. So this again can apply to business situations, to relationships, and as it relates specifically to artists of any kind. You've created something physical. Make sure there's no loose ends. I don't know what you may or may not need to do to protect it. And it can be physical protection, as in my painting needs to be, in a locked box on the wall. Or I'm seeing things about like watching your art. Maybe you need trademarks. Maybe you need copyrights. Maybe you need to, don't forget to sign the bottom of your, drawing or whatever it is. All right. Let's get some advice. So I also wanted advice from my abundance cards. Counting your blessings and feeling gratitude for what you've already have. This is very similar to some of the other cards we've read or received. Being thankful for what you already have helps you to be centered in your heart instead of fixated on worries in your mind. What and who are you grateful for right now? Keep focusing upon that gratitude and you'll discover the amazing generosity of this universe. So if you need to, make a gratitude list. Write down the things for which you're thankful. Maybe you need a reminder. And opening to windfall of abundance, just like this Ace of Autumn said. An increase in abundance is arriving in many different forms, some of them unexpected. Be open to receiving and know that this abundance comes to you to support your life purpose, health, and charitable work. Gratitude list. Clean energy food. I was feeling this before. I said, I'm going to have to talk to them about organic food and electric food. I'm so strange sometimes. When you fuel your body with a healthful organic diet, you increase your energy levels and the ability to focus. This automatically leads to more efficiency, better ideas, and a higher vibration, which attracts golden opportunities and beneficial relationships. So I really did, I promise you, think that right before I started recording this, that I needed to talk to you guys about electric foods. And stress the fact that it has nothing to do with how much you weigh. You're tall, you're short, you're skinny, you're, consider yourself overweight, or maybe even you consider yourself fat even. That, and I guess particularly if you consider yourself skinny or petite, that doesn't mean that you don't need electric foods to help to raise your vibration and to keep it healthy. So you may even be otherwise physically healthy. We're talking about spiritual health in this case here. So these clean energy foods can help any and all of us in, that regard. And it's now at the top. I'm going to cut. God is your source. Everything you need is supplied by the infinite source of God. And your faith opens the doorway to receive. In God, there is no lack or limitation. Rather, there's plenty of abundance for all to share. So this is our third mention in this reading of like a windfall of abundance, plenty of abundance. I think we can believe so that we're able to actually receive it too. Overall energy is deservingness. You are a beloved child of God, like everyone else, and you deserve to receive the support that will allow you to focus upon your divine life purpose. Even if you can't recognize your lovable qualities, trust that God and the angels can see how amazing you truly are. I saw this card the other day. I think I dropped it or something like that. And so I picked it up and I stopped to read it. And it made me think of my divine masculine so much. Well, this part, where is it? Even if you can't yet recognize your lovable qualities, trust that God and the angels can see how amazing you truly are. And this can apply to all of them. I mean, it can apply to the feminine too, of course. But I thought about him in that moment, like, because I know for a fact that he doesn't, or at least that he hadn't, and hadn't always seen himself the way I see him. And might not understand titles like king and boss. And so like, why? You know, what do I do to deserve it? Just exist. You're just being. That's what you do to deserve it. God and the angels can see how amazing you are. And so can I. I don't know why. Did I just change the overall energy? I think I did. Oh, well, we weren't meant to keep that one. I was meant to read that and I guess blur out what I did and now move on to this one. Face your financial fears. When you're honest with yourself about fears of success and failure, they can no longer control you. Be free of hidden fears by exposing them to the light of awareness, and you'll realize that you, in fact, have nothing to fear, and that every successful person has struggled with and released these self-doubts. And now my surrender cards, beginning with surrender your need to always be right. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help to resolve conflicts and to improve your relationships. Also, surrender your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open the infinite nature of abundance. Be open to it. This is our fourth message now of this. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. At least our fourth. About this infinite abundance. That's back. Surrender to wonder and awe. Open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will help to keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. Surrender need to be right. And surrender resentments. Holding on to resentments only poisons you. Try to forgive others for their shortcomings and keep moving forward toward positive situations in your life. So that's what I meant about the Queen of Air before. Like, we just move on to a better feeling for ourselves. We don't hold on to like any one sentiment or another. I'm going to cut. Surrender your ego. Cultivate gratitude. Be of service to others and come from your heart. A big ego can work against you, but humility will further your goals. Lastly, surrender to prayer. And actually last night, I very randomly, it was totally impromptu, decided to start like a virtual prayer circle on my Facebook friends page. So my Facebook friends page, I have about 500 friends. So it's a pretty intimate group, you know, like contrary to my fan page where I have like over 5,000, you know, friends. So on that friend page, I decided that I was going to pick a different friend for, I don't know until when, every day, right? And ask that others that are, you know, that believe in prayer on my page, pray for that one person. We all pray for the same person for one day. And so tonight I'm going to select a new friend and we'll all pray for that person for 24 hours and so on and so on. And I think that it's a good way to, you know, support one another. It's not like, the person is necessarily going through pain, and they may be, you know, you could help somebody that hasn't had the strength to ask for help, or we could like sort of pray it forward similar to paying it forward, and put those prayers in advance. Like it said, at least it used to be said where I'm from, and my grandmother used to say, like, our ancestors or our people before us, so like our grandparents, great-grandparents, the prayers they said go toward oftentimes our lives. And it said, like, this can be the difference between generational curses and things or not, for those who believe in that. In any case, give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard throughout the universe, and answers and support will arrive. And last and but certainly not least, Raphael. I always put that one card of hydration because we all need to do that, drink more water, but I bent the card. I didn't realize it had jumped out one day and it was on the floor, and I rolled over it with my chair. So I'm beginning with detoxification, which is this and this, right? This Ace of Winter can be here to guide the feminine to cut something out of her life. And this Queen of Winter, I believe, is certainly there to guide the masculine to cut something out of his. That's the same as detoxification. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for clearing up my body, mind, and life so that I may happily and healthfully live free of chemicals. And opening to fresh air. And I think that this is more so, it can be about the need to get out, into fresh air and get some fresh air. But I think it's more like a breath of fresh air. Like you can breathe easier now because you've released these things that you needed to. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me to breathe easier. Oh, yes, in all ways. Fresh air. And laughter is the best medicine. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for reminding me to detach and to find the humor and irony within every human drama. Also, change physicians. And I think this is about going a more like holistic way. So not necessarily firing your doctor, although some of you may need to, but like the electric food and the organic food, the alkaline food, where and when you can incorporate that, if you would be so inclined. I think that that's the sort of thing to which this is referring. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for leading me to the best healer for this situation. Amen. Change physicians and good night's sleep. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for helping me to relax and to sleep deeply, for I know that you're guiding, healing, and protecting me while I rest. Change physicians. I'm going to cut. Oh, okay. As long as I have 6, I like to cut into 6. 6 equals love. 6 equals equality. Fairness, justice, equity. And we're back to detoxification after all of that. Overall energy is do more research. Dear God and Archangel Raphael, thank you for clearly and gently leading me to the information that I need to know for my well-being. Please give me the courage. So they did already. It's right here, right? Strength. Please give me the courage to be assertive as I take charge of my healthcare needs. So I think they gave us that too. They gave us the Queen of Earth, and they gave it here, and it says follow these instructions precisely. So however we're guided to do it, we're guided to, and we have this energy of the Ace of Winter sitting right next. That's certainly assertive. And the Ace of Autumn too, to strengthen this. Queen of Winter sitting next to the Queen of Autumn. All that strength to be able to, research and obtain any information we need. Plus, we're the magician. So again, we can do it. All right. So from Archangel Raphael, further to that, to the masculine, is that laughter is the best medicine card. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for reminding me to detach and to find humor and irony within every human drama. Feminine, exercise is key. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for motivating me and guiding me to an exercise program that fits my schedule, interests, and budget. So similar to the food, I think that this really has nothing to do with whether one would consider themselves physically in shape or not. This is about positive endorphins. This is about peace, Zen. Maybe you want to do some sort of, I don't know, I'm getting cross training, yoga, but I guess anything you want to do. But those came like right to mind, are going to be things that can help to raise your vibration. Masculine, surrender to miracles. So again, this is a belief that you deserve these things and that the universe is, you know, infinite enough to provide them to you, you know, beyond your wildest dreams. Be open to miracles occurring in your life. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance and banish any doubt that miracles can happen. This, I think, also speaks to that 10 of air. You really, really have to believe that, yes, even you, good things can happen to and happen for, no matter how difficult they were in the past. Even you, even given your situation, good things can happen. Maybe some of you had a legal situation yourself in jail, or the possibility of, you know, you were like facing a charge or something, and that is coming to an end. And so you go from the difficult time to being able to be with your family instead. Maybe somebody's released from jail. The family hasn't, you know, been with them. Now they're coming out and they're going to make the best going forward with the life. Okay. So there's that. Feminine, surrender to silence. I think I talked about this sort of thing last week. Like, don't just, you know, be so quick to be presumptuous and, you know, open your mouth. In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. From the abundance cards to the masculine, positivity, faith, and optimism. You're getting the same kind of messages over and over about like believing that you deserve, believing that things can happen for you that are good. You open the doorway to positive experiences and opportunities with your positive expectations and energy. Don't allow negative energy or temporary setbacks to interfere with the path that you're on. Keep the faith and keep going. Feminine, successful funding. Your idea is divinely guided. All right, here's the funding right here. Ace of Autumn. Your idea is divinely guided and supported by the same infinite wisdom of God that gave you the idea in the first place. Okay, the Ace of Winter. Do not allow money concerns to prevent you from turning it into a reality. Crowdfunding, partnerships, and other investments are available to help you. From the angels to the masculine, the Queen of Water represents the sign of Scorpio or other water signs, Pisces, Cancer, or taking on those attributes. Tenderhearted, empathetic, patient, and loving is the Queen of Water. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition, care for yourself and others. Feminine, boom. That 3 of air is back. Great sadness. Take time to heal. There's a need to forgive yourself and others. But what did we just say? In quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you. Again, as can certain types of exercise or exercise in general, but I'm thinking particularly like a cross training for the positive endorphins, because I just pictured like somebody cross training and their positive energy increasing from that. But of course, also, again, like I said, yoga is something that can help us to find balance, like literally, and peace and contentment and heal in that sense. But whatever kind of exercise you're into is fine. And maybe walking, right? That could allow you to do both at once, to be silent and to exercise. You go for a walk and just commune with the universe. Get some fresh air. Speak to the universe. Speak to yourself. Go within and exercise all at the same time. From the animal tarot to the masculine. Finishing up, it's the world. Just as I thought in the beginning. I said the world is going to show up to help with this 2 of air and 3 of air. Congratulations on successfully accomplishing what you set out to do. You've made it through the challenges and incorporated the lessons life offered you with grace and courage. So the world, again, is, for me, a time. It represents a time when the universe has stepped in to help you along, you know, to nudge you and maybe like point you in the right direction and stuff. So that's going on with the masculine. Major Arcana card 21. And last but not least, the Animal Tarot to the feminine, Queen of Spring. The Queen of Spring is talented, brilliant, independent, and charming, and can be an actual person, impactful upon yourself this week, or, you know, your life in some way. If it doesn't represent you, the Queen of Spring or Wands or Fire does represent, in the general sense, as far as the tarot goes, the divine feminine, period. She's also a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries, or anyone taking on those traits. Don't underestimate your ability to manifest your dreams. So we had a couple of messages like that about the feminine here, with relation to maybe starting a business or moving forward in some other way and accepting this victory, right? You're the magician. You're the Queen of Wands. You may have several priorities vying for your attention at once. So like your money, your pockets are calling to you, but so is your relationship, and your heart is hurting right now because, you know, you've had to let something go, or something or someone has let you go, and you've got to work beyond that. So all these things happening at once, but you have the strength, the passion, the brilliance, the charm, the independence to, you know, get through it. You can do it. I hope that you guys enjoyed the general weekly reading and found it helpful. I will be back with love and sometime thereafter with the moon reading, the full moon reading. And again, if you would like help from me, if you feel that I could be helpful to you, whether it's by becoming my friend on Facebook and joining the prayer circle and maybe having some prayers offered for you for a day, or maybe therapeutic for you to offer prayers for another, that's a way. If, you know, you'd like a reading from me, check me out on Facebook, or Queenofswords, Thelightworker.com, or Queenofswords, Thelightworker@gmail.com. And if you would like divine light cleanse or any of my other energy healing work, you can check me out on Queenofswords, Thelightworker.com underneath the tab that is marked energy healing offerings, energy work offerings. Divine Light Cleanse is the first in the drop-down menu. On Facebook, it has its own page, again, of testimonials from others who've had it. Facebook is where I also tend to post when there's a grant, when somebody has paid it forward toward somebody's Divine Light Cleanse, whether in part or wholly, like they did this week. And I don't know, any other way that you might think I can be of help. That's how to get at me and how to reach me. Again, if you, particularly if you enjoyed the video, or if you generally enjoy the video, or enjoy me, or appreciate the help, or whatever, a combination of those, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, because YouTube has a tendency to like drop my subscribers and not notify them. I need them to find out when there are new videos like this. Namaste, angels.